Do you have a game development related degree?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
No, I do.
but I didn't finish my degree.
Personally, I don't.
I have a master's in game development and business management.
No, I do not.
Yes.
None at all.
Should you get one, yes or no, and why you think so?
I don't think so. I think it's a waste of money.
For myself, personally, I really think that the specific degree that I have, really helped me.
It depends heavily on where you go.
You do not need a degree to get a publisher and to be successful.
I definitely enjoyed the 3 years of learning lots about game dev.
Hey everyone! A lot of you guys reach out to me either through these YouTube comments or by sending me an email with a very heavy and loaded question. Usually it goes something like this. Hey, my name is blah blah blah. I am like 18 years old and I'm considering going into college for game dev. Should I do it? It costs a lot of money, or my parents think it's a bad idea, or I don't really know what to do. And to be honest, I never felt comfortable answering this question because I never went to like college or university for game development. I studied regular computer science, I worked in a completely different field for 3 years, and then one day I woke up and I was like, I'm becoming a game dev. So I feel like I never really knew the full story, what's good about college, what's bad about it. And I was always scared of answering this question. Now, last week this changed a bit, because I went to Gamescom with one singular goal in mind. Not to talk to publishers, not to talk to investors or anything, or showcase our game, but to answer this question for you guys.
Do you have a game development related degree? Do you think it was worth it? Would you do it all over again? Or are you absolute waste of money and time? What is your opinion on it?
And for 3 days, all I did really was just talk to developers, talk to publishers, talk to anyone really related in the game dev industry to hear about what they had to say about it. And the result of that is this video as well as another one, because I spoke to more than 100 people most likely, but I only recorded about 65. If you're interested and you, after watching this video, you're like, I still need a bit more information, what are the pros, what are the cons? There's a video linked down below with all of the unedited, so to say, answers where people just speak their mind. We have some big shot CEOs or publishers, and we also have the smaller solo devs. It's a very broad range. We also talk to some schools themselves, why they think that you should get a degree, because of course they're biased. And I think it's gonna be really interesting. This video is if you have a little bit less time and you just want to hear me talk about it and what are my key takeaways from it. Maybe first, what's my opinion? I think, in general, going to university to get a game development degree isn't worth it. That's my opinion. There are a few exceptions to it. And the main exception here is cost. This is also one of the biggest biases that you could say I have, is I live in Belgium. And here it's incredibly cheap to go to university. It costs about 1,000 euros every year for us to go and study, which is, in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. And on top of that, we have, I think, I don't do their marketing pitch, but it's either the best or the second best game development university or college in the world by some official ranking that's pretty solid. It's much easier for us to get high quality education and very cheap education. The only thing you really have to spend when you're here in Belgium is your time. And if you can work on student projects and make your own games on the side, that's perfect. But it's an entirely different story when I'm talking to some developers who had to pay 15,000 euros every single year. So 45,000 euros, that's never gonna be worth it. Especially not when you go into a, by default, less earning field, such as game development compared to traditional computer science. Another way that this bias shows through is in the supercut video. You'll notice that a lot of people do say yes, it's worth it, but keep in mind that most of those people, because I know them, so it's easier for me to approach them, first of all, live in Belgium, so they had to pay 1,000 euros for their degree, and second of all, they had access, well, basically all of them went to that DAE, School of Digital Arts and Entertainment.
I have a degree in digital arts and entertainment.
I've graduated digital arts and entertainment back in 2011. I have a degree of independent game production at digital arts and entertainment.
Digital arts and entertainment,
which is one of the best in the world. So for them, it's gonna be an easy...
Yes, not only for the skills and knowledge you will build up, but also for the people you work with.
Personally, I would do it all over again.
I think it's good to have one.
So my opinion is you don't need a degree to get into game dev. But I do suggest you get a degree. Get a degree in something that is maybe a bit more broad than what you're doing, but that is still usable. So the clear obvious one is that instead of studying to become a game programmer, get a computer science degree, you'll learn like 80% of the same things, like coding wise, and you'll also just learn how to learn, so that once you decide to pick up an engine, you know how to improve upon it. You know some of the core concepts and you can very quickly like learn new things. This also goes with art. Don't study just art in general, like study art for film as well, or something that is more broad, that gives you more of a safety net as well. And I think that there is true value in degrees that way. I just don't think there's that much value in getting a degree specifically for game development. Yeah, of course you can like do all the cool stuff, and their marketing material for those universities is really cool as well, because some are like, we have full motion capture rigs in like our university, but I don't really feel like that is worth it.
I think it's a waste of money.
And some other key takeaways is that no publisher cares at all if you have a game dev degree or not. All any publisher cares about is how good is your demo, how good is your pitch.
You know, honestly, all we really look for is a prior experience as well as a really strong portfolio. And
to be honest, it's not the degree that is important for us, it's the fact that they show us that they know how to develop games.
It's because most developers we work with don't have any kind of degree related to the gaming industry. Generally it's going to be IT, but there's quite a lot that are like just architects or just artists or whatever. That's the spirit of indie, I think.
I think we only care about what you can do, and if you acquire that skills from going to college, that's great, but if you acquire those skills by just working on games, it's probably the better way to get into the industry.
And I think that's pretty logical. I don't think anyone was truly expecting that having a game dev degree was gonna get you instant publisher funding. It's nice if you have one, but nobody really cares about it. When I speak to publishers, some of them are also like, yeah, we've seen people come in with that game dev degree, but they make worse stuff than just someone who's self-taught and who has actually put in the hard work. You need to make sure that if you do get a game dev degree, it's not like a free entrance to anywhere. You're still competing with all of the self-taught people, because they're not that much further behind you, especially technically. And I think this is a good segue to why should you, and like what are the general reasons that people say that you should or it's not really worth it. And I feel like there's two main things. You shouldn't go to university for technical skills at all. Nobody really has said that, oh yeah, I wouldn't have been able to learn any of these things on my own. The only exception is if you're just someone who learns better in classrooms, but all of the information to become a talented 3D artist or to become a talented programmer are available for free on the internet or through like some Udemy courses, very low cost, very easy to enter.
I most of the time lack the courage to do something really through, so I thought getting a degree might help me to get the skills and then maybe get also contact in the industry.
I think it's very hard for me to stay motivated, but going to school is a very good framework for me. So if you have a hard time getting motivated and like learning by yourself, I think a school degree is really worth it.
And I agree with that as well. I know that I am someone who does learn better through like a sit down and learn school approach than like through online. So that's also why I prefer to learn through books instead of video courses. That's something that depends on you as the person, but I know plenty of developers and like people in the industry also prefer learning through online courses. That's, for example, Jamie in our team, William in our team, and Thomas in our team all prefer just sitting at home and like going through it at their own pace. Because as I say pace, that's another problem, is if you're a really good student, you're still gonna be brought back by the rest of the class in most of these universities. So you're actually slowing down how much work you can do in 3 years. And especially if you're paying money for that, I'm paying a lot of money for it.
It's definitely not worth it. I paid a lot of money, I'm still paying it back.
That one can suck as well. Now, why you should go, and I think this is the #1 reason that people do go, is the network.
Because of the connections of of our professors and teachers.
Our teachers and the other students, they are helping me, and it's a great community, and I can ask questions and get help from everyone, and it's really fun. It's a whole community.
I think one of the big advantages of doing a school or education is that you'll build up a network of co-workers. You'll get to work with the industry, you'll get to work on actual projects.
When I talk to people who've gone, they never really approached getting a game dev degree with the idea of, I want to build that network first and then learn the technical skills later, but they all realized through their studies that the network they get through going to a university is really strong. What do I mean with a network? Well, you're gonna be surrounded by like-minded individuals. I think a problem that a lot of solo developers and people like us also had is we don't know any other game developers. And it can be much harder to get into game development if you don't know anyone else you can talk to or who maybe is also like interested, and you can like bundle your skills and start something together. By going to a school, they often like force you to participate in things like game jams or in like longer term group projects where you work together with a team on making a game. And it's infinitely harder to do this with a like non-game dev degree. We studied computer science at my university, and I like coach some people there sometimes, and only like one student group of 3 people like actually went into game development out of the like hundreds of students. Because, and even in computer science, there's a pretty high overlap still between like game dev and computer science of like interests. Even there, it's a lot harder to find like-minded people. And also, this second one, maybe not as applicable to indie developers, but also just to people who want to get into game dev in general, is the professional network for like other companies, for example. Especially again, this in Belgium, because we are quite good, is like in your 2nd year already. A lot of companies come to Belgium to start scouting for like talent once they graduate. So people like EA, Bohemia Interactive, or like RSI, all like come to the school to find the most talented people so they can already give them job offers. This is amazing, of course, because it's really nice, speaking from experience, to not really have to apply anywhere and be like, oh, I hope they accept me. Instead, I can just blanket statements, send out my resume, and 90% of the time a company will accept me. This is something, again, that's harder to do, although in game dev, the credentials don't matter as much as the portfolio does. So before like I go on to like a way too long rant, because I've just been speaking about this for 3 days basically, I can just go unhinged about it at this point. I do not think that if you're like on the fence and you truly believe that I have the answers and that like you're coming up to me for like the response, I don't think you should go to a game dev like specific degree. The only exception is if it's really cheap and all it costs you basically is your time, then I would consider it. For example, I think also Switzerland also has like fully free game dev degrees from pretty decent schools. Then it's worth it. If it's something like you have to go to a private school for it, it's not gonna be worth it. No way. Just stick to self-learning and get out there yourself. You don't have access to the network that the school provides you, but you can still go to game jams, you can still hang out in Discords, and all of those things. Do make use of them. If you're still not really certain, again, I don't hate degrees in general. I do see there's a lot of value in it. I'm not saying that you should just not study anything, but I wouldn't go for a game dev specific degree. If you are also on the fence and you want to hear some like actual industry people and not just some guy like sitting on his couch talk about it, watch the video. I'm not expecting many views on it, but I do think that it can be very interesting if you want to truly get a deep dive into the minds of a lot of people who have gone before you and their opinions on the game dev degree. Because I've only like summarized it. There's a lot more depth that this whole like question goes into. And yeah, that's about all I really had to say. If you have a question and you feel like, you know, your situation is different, send me an email. I do want to help you guys out. I do know like quite a bit at this point about game development degrees and like how they work. I don't mind helping you guys. Send an email here and I'll see if I can get back to you and help you a bit more. Apart from that, if you're new here, we're game developers without a degree, and we make our own games. We make videos about game development. If that's something that you're interested into watching, be sure to go ahead down below, give us a like and maybe subscribe, as we upload these videos twice a week. And also, I'm just gonna like quickly plug this because, you know, this video was a pain to make because I think I had like 4 hours of raw footage to go through. If you want to support us, we also have a Unity affiliate link. So if you're a Unity dev and you're in need of some cool assets and you want to support your favorite developers or whatever, use that one. It costs you nothing and we get like a small percentage of whatever you've paid goes to us, and that funds us a bit as well. Anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!